What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Sir Splash, and today, it happens. A frequently asked question in Star Wars forums is who would win, Darth Sidious or Darth Vitiate, both at their peaks. Let's find out who the better Emperor really is. Now first, we're going to talk about Sidious. Sheev Palpatine grew up the member of a political family. Palpatine was recruited and taught by Darth Plagueis. Conspiring to take over the galaxy, Palpatine became Darth Sidious. He killed Plagueis, converted Darth Vader, and destroyed the Jedi. Killed by Vader later on, Sidious returned to challenge Luke again. Strength-wise, Sidious was a Force-augmented freak. He kept pace and clashed with Savage Opress, Darth Maul, Yoda, Mace Windu, and later on the new Master Luke. Not physically inclined, Sidious was still no slouch. Speed-wise, Sidious was terrifying. He kept up with the speedy Yoda, made Windu enter a flow state, and troubled Luke. He was a Viper, quick to strike, and very deadly. Durability-wise, Sidious was a real bastard to put down. His dark side power allowed him extended life. The resurrection won't matter for this fight for both of them. Still, Sidious tanked his own lightning and got back up right after. This shows that at the very least, his durability is relative to his attack potency. Intelligence-wise, Sidious holds up to the greatest. His orchestrated use of planning to initiate the fall of the Republic proved he was dominant in a strategic warfare and also allowed him to run his empire soundly. Sidious balanced his ego well for a Sith Lord and treated engagements like chess matches. Skill-wise, Sidious was underrated. He was a master duelist and seemed to utilize Ataru, Juyo, and Naman. He was acrobatically gifted and was exceptional at mixing in Force use, hacks, abilities, and gear. Sidious has his standard red-bladed lightsaber. He had Force lightning that could light up planet surfaces. He could rip space-time and produce Force storms. He was a high-grade telepath and empath. He had Force Scream and Force Rage. He was a black hole in the Force and was well versed in Sith practices, making his Force abilities much more dangerous. He also could use Maelstrom if needed. Now to Vitiate, an evil kid turned Sith Lord by middle school. Practicing sorcery, Vitiate was the immortal Emperor for over 1,300 years, haunting and terrorizing the Old Republic. Strength-wise, Vitiate was exceptional. He could repel Force-enhanced lightsaber blows with one hand, his strength backed by his use of Force barrier. Speed-wise, Vitiate was absurd. He, simply put, could not be touched by a normal Sith Lord, even with him being off guard. He had precog that increased his reaction speed. He kept pace with Revan, and was too fast for Revan to close the gap. His counters and offense made him nigh impossible to touch. Durability-wise, Vitiate was rarely tested but viable. He took the backlash of him and Revan's clash of Force and was only irritated at the moment. His barrier stood up the Force and lightsabers, and anything short of death blows will not stop him. Intelligence-wise, Vitiate was genius. He spent centuries learning Sith knowledge, with Revan conceding that Vitiate was as smart as it got. Skill-wise, it is pretty hard to gauge Vitiate. From what we can gather, Vitiate had solid martial arts prowess. His footwork and slight hand movements deceptive and controlled. In lightsaber combat, we can gather he knew some forms. My guess is Sarisu and Naman. He could defend sharply close range and would throw precise strikes followed by his Force powers. Hacks, abilities, and gear. Vitiate wore Republic battle armor and carried a single lightsaber. He had advanced precog and farsight. His presence could passively dominate your mind and soul. His lightning could overwhelm Revan, who achieved oneness. He had Maelstrom and Force barrier. His telekinesis could overpower Jedi Masters. He erased a Sith Lord from existence once, and had instant death hacks. He had empathy and telepathy as well. So, let's go over who takes the individual categories. Strength-wise, I give the edge to Sidious. He has more showings of repelling heavy-duty strikes with his blade. Speed-wise, I'm calling it a tie. Both could only be matched by god-tier duelists. Common, Sith, and Jedi were simply fodder to them. Durability-wise, tie. Both could take what they dished out, and anything less than killing strikes won't cut it. Fucking pun intended. Intelligence-wise, edge to Vitiate. Sidious was genius, but Vitiate was godly. Vitiate reigned for over 1,000 years and was more knowledgeable than Revan, as admitted by Revan, who was the best tactician of that era. Skill-wise, did I say era? I meant era. You know what I mean. Skill-wise, comfortable edge to Sidious. He kept up with Windu, Yoda, and Luke. Vitiate simply never showed that range of dueling skill. Hacks, abilities, and gear, tie. Sidious, to me, had a little bit better offensive moveset, but Vitiate had better defensive movesets. So, how would this go down? To start, both would use dark side intimidation. Neither would flinch. Then, in comes the lightning. Both would blast, deflect, and absorb, with no edge given. Telekinesis would be used to no avail. The way this would end would become obvious. With a forced scream, Sidious would blitz and his lightsaber at the ready. Vitiate would deflect with barrier and activate his own. The duel would begin, Sidious the aggressor. Vitiate would poke and prod, looking for an opening. He would find none. He would simply be delaying the inevitable. With a twirl, Sidious beheads Vitiate cleanly. I give Sidious the win 7.5 to 8 times out of 10. It's pretty obvious to me. Both cancel out with the Force. This leaves martial combat. Vitiate's decent with a blade, but Sidious is a master. He would engage and overwhelm. Emperor Sidious wins. Anyways, let me know what you think. If you disagree and think Vitiate will win, let me know down below and let me know why. I do understand they had a couple more abilities. For instance, Vitiate could create images of himself, kind of like clones. But I don't think that would be a factor. I think this would just eventually come down to martial combat because both are so powerful with the dark side. One's a void in the Force. One is dark side incarnate. Pretty much the same. Anyways, like, subscribe, comment. It's been your boy Sir Splash, and I will see y'all later. Peace.